Hey everyone, how you doing today? Traditional opening. So got this out. Really happy about that. Did a couple little patches to it, fixing up a couple things that were still missed. One releasing or just other pairs of eyes really help seeing what's going on with everything. And I didn't realize that I didn't even think about it actually that these long range radars and reefers eat and use a bit of power, like well about 600 watts or kilowatts or one of those things. And so there is a P menu option in the ship down to turn that radar off. So that's cool. Anyway, I've been really thinking about the next project, and I know I mentioned this thing called a battle sphere, and I've been kind of trying to work that out in my head before I even started doing it, and it's kind of like it kind of kept on breaking down where it's like I don't really know. I don't think it's really anything that I would like to do. It seemed kind of underwhelming, I guess. So then I started looking at some more pictures online just to get some ideas and references. And there's been something that I kind of wanted to build instead of that. And maybe I'll start that here in a sec. And I was looking at something else in the Star Trek genre, and that is the Klingon Birds of Prey. And it was brought up a few times, and it's of course I've been thinking about that quite a bit too. But on the old school ones, like the old school from the old TV shows and stuff like that, I liked the general shape of the ship, but I didn't like everything about the ships. I didn't really like the color scheme very much, things like that. So I'm gonna use the Klingon Bird of Prey as like a base, and then I'm gonna just kind of make something that is my own thing, I guess, or something, just taking a look at different ones and try to get some neat qualities going on, but also try to make it like not of any particular, not a replica again. Now this one looks kind of close to a replica, but it's really not. So this will be kind of the same way. I'm going to try to get a lot of the parts of the body done, but as in texturing and stuff, I kind of want it to look a little bit more not green, basically. So I'm thinking more of a kind of a grayer kind of thing, a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more modern looking, I guess. So anyway, I'll shut up and throw down a CV block here, or a CV starter, a minute, and I just kind of wanted to kind of work out kind of part of the shape of it right now. So I'm going to do my normal thing where I just kind of lay one of these down and I start building the ship somewhere up here. Let me get a light on too. And this, of course, is another symmetrical creation. So I might as well turn on symmetry right now. Okay, so we got that. So Klingon Birds of Prey. There's, if you look at the internet, there's a lot of different pictures, a lot of models and images or concept art made from other people, things that weren't in the show, and some of them I thought looked really, really, really cool. And I kind of want to base this design on one of those, what I thought looked really, really cool. It's not quite the traditional one, but it is. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I started the other one the same way. I didn't. I tried to go mainly off from memory and not really look at many pictures. This one, I looked at some pictures, but it's just kind of like a mental image, and it's not like I'm referencing those pictures for anything else. Um, so with the Klingon Bird of Prey, basic thing here is okay. So you typically have a pretty long neck area, and then at some point here, of course, everything's probably going to be rescaled about 50 times. But and then somewhere back over here, you've got some big mass that kind of widens out some. And I'm going to widen this up a little bit because with the last ship, it was like I kept on having to make it bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. I guess that's not so hard to do when you can copy and paste chunks around and stuff like that. Thank goodness with those tools in here, or it would be a real nightmare. But it does do that stuff. Okay, so what we got here isn't much right now, but let's just say hypothetically, hypothetically that this was the front area, and I'm gonna kind of doing a kind of a wireframe here with blocks right now, and I like to do that on some of these, especially when I'm not real sure on how I want it to, or what are the dimensions and how I want it to come out. Where this way, it's kind of like drawing on a piece of paper, like doing a sketch where I can erase lines and put in new lines and things like that. But let's just say that this up here, and maybe it should be wedged different, but who cares right now, is the like the nose area of a Klingon Bird of Prey. Let's just add some more blocks here. And one nice thing about doing this too is you can mimic your lines to work with what you can do in the game. In other words, oh man, my voice just keeps crackling out. It's been, man. Okay, so that looks, yeah, you know. Let's see what we can do here. I'm just trying to get some general block work in here and then try to figure out where to go from there. But let's say this came down about like that. And here's our front of the ship. And even the neck should be at least 5 blocks wide, I do believe. And this probably is going to have to be, actually, it already looks too small. It already looks too small. This is kind of that bulgy area towards the front of the fairly long necks on these things. But I have a feeling I didn't think big enough again. That's kind of a problem with some of this. Here, let's just make this just all around bigger and maybe a little bit more rounded off. How about go something like this, which you can see would make kind of a bit of more of a round pattern there. And okay, so if that's the size of this, let's get rid of all this other lines then. That's what's nice about doing this kind of setup first. I mean, it's going to look totally terrible when you're doing this, but it gives you kind of a groundwork for adding all your nice smooth blocks and everything else going on here. I don't know if I should round it off at the front either. Now, I set up this so you got like 2 blocks here, then an angle, and so forth. If you were going to lay down angled blocks or things like that here, it would all kind of basically work out to make a round pattern here. Oops. There we go, like that. You can run another one of these, and then you can run 45s here, like that. And this is just straight across. Now, often when I do this, I'll also like start to round them off on the top and the bottom to get that smooth effect. And that's all, you know. But I know I can do it because I set out these blocks in the right way to work with Imperium blocks. But yeah, I don't know. That looks a little bit round, a little bit too wide and round, I think. So let's change this part here. There's a lot of parts to this ship again. Like this is, I'm just trying to focus on one thing, and I think maybe in this case, scaling the rest of the ship to the bridge area might be the better choice. On this one here, I found that I started here building this piece with the ship, and that gave me the sense of scale for the rest of the ship, because basically all your other components, which would be your neck and your saucer and your you know, your nacelles and all that stuff, mount to this part. So this was kind of my base part I wanted to use to scale the rest of the ship. On this one, not so much. I'm thinking I kind of almost want it to be the front of the ship as a scaling measurement. It doesn't really have quite as many parts as what those do. It's basically kind of a, you know, you got a neck and you got a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a saucer, but you some kind of a bulgier area at the front, and then you got some pretty big like areas, and then you got some big slanted in wings that kind of come in this way. So I don't know. It's just early stuff here, trying to figure out exactly how I want this to be shaped and what kind of scaling. Of course, it would be nice to have enough room to put in some of those big parts, you know, especially with shields and things like that. So I have a feeling if I do continue with this project here, that it's going to be a pretty high-end ship again. Expensive tier 4 plus, I like to call it. So basically it means it's beyond your tier 4 Reforged Eden cores and things like that. But so far, I don't know if I like what I got going on here. So let's I'm going to taper this back off again. Let's try it at 22.5. Maybe I probably should just do this with blocks and not try to put in the angles right now. So something like that, a 2:1 ratio that can maybe bring it all the way back down to the neck here. Okay, so now this part here, I almost want this to change here too. Let's get rid of some of these and just give it a little bit of an angle here. Let's take it out another block row too. Okay, so something like that. Let's say we went here. Okay, so we've got kind of this part here, the neck. I didn't want the neck crazy long. I want it long enough so you know there's like some kind of neck there, but I really kind of wanted the other parts of the ship to be, I don't know. Right now it looks actually kind of on the small side. Or maybe, you know, if I don't go full crazy too on the Tier 4 Plus, I could also try to like tailor this to be spawnable without the need of quantum cores and things like that. Again, don't know what kind of thrust is going to be on it. I was trying to kind of match some of the specs of this, so I'm building it out of hardened steel right now, to see how that comes out. But I think what I should do is try to figure out how the top part of this is all going to fit together here. So this area, let's raise this up a little bit. Just trying to put in some angled blocks here on the edges. See how that would turn out. I don't know. I know it's a little rough to see what's really kind of going on right now, even for me. Let's try. So, all right, let's just say I probably shouldn't have done that. Oops. Try to gear this out so it can go down a couple blocks this way. Again, also on these, some of the pictures I looked at, they're using a lot of angles that I can't do in Imperium, and that is a thing too. So I can't quite try to like even remake one of the cooler looking ones that I've seen, because it's hitting angles that are far beyond like a 22.5 degree angle. So, all right, let's just say we got that there, and this would be kind of like where the wings start to mount to the rest of the ship at. I don't think I got the dimensions quite right, but a lot of that's going to change. And then, but the wings were kind of like, okay, like say this is one part of where the wings start on it, but then it has like another part that is like a different angle that's kind of attached to it. So I'm going to just leave like a little barrier here for now, and almost like this is a separation between one part of the wing and the next part. And this next part is going to, what angle should I use? Should it just be a 45, or should I do 45? I think might work. So this goes 45, but let's say it goes about like that, but not super big. Not super big. This is like just one chunk. Here, let's say we do that and bring it here, and we'll do, how did I set the front one there? Kind of like that. So what if we just went here, like that, and another 40, oops, another 45. Okay, so I'll even get rid of these blocks here, trying to plan this out a little bit. So we've got, you know what, they're not deep enough. That is something. I think this should be now longer and probably tapered off on the back side at maybe a 22.5. So let's make this piece a little bit bigger. Get rid of that stuff. That. And we'll just kind of bring this down to fit there for now. Okay. Again, kind of like drawing on a piece of paper, like if you were drawing like a top view looking down at it, and that's kind of what's going on here. Okay, and then beyond this piece, it's going to have one more piece, and a lot of these are supposed to be slanted like downward too, so I didn't really cover that too much right now, but I'm just kind of want to get that top shape done, at least so I know what areas I'm going to be trying to build out here. So over here, after this, okay, so we'll just put another divider there. And once it gets to here, maybe I'll have it come out just a couple more blocks for the heck of it, and then we'll have it go at a 22.5 angle on this stretch. What happened there? Okay, maybe something like that. And these wings are pretty big on these things, by the way. They just have to be proportional, though, to the rest of it. And now the rest of it looks a little bit too bulky up front compared to the current wings. Here, let's just kind of level that off a little bit. Now about just 3 blocks, and we'll come in, let's say to about here, and start angling that back in. Oops, something like that. Oh yeah, it's not really quite on. Yeah, I think the big problem I got is I think this is now too wide here. So let's just get rid of a line row. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, totally don't like this straight up angle here either. So let's also switch that to a 22.5. You can mess around with getting this layout part down for quite a while before I really want to try to actually build any of the individual parts for it here. Now this other Klingon ship, the one that I thought looked really neat, it had some things mounted up over in this area here too, like some bigger, bulkier pieces, which I thought, when I was looking at it, would look really good to mount some launchers or something in. So I'm going to just try to I don't know, figure that out a little bit with some wireframe blocks here. I like to call them at least. So something that would kind of come across there like that. Like maybe you got that, and then above here, just add some more blocks to figure that part out with. Would have some kind of I don't know, launchers or something here. So hypothetically grab some launchers. Well, not hypothetically, but just grab a big launcher piece here and see how that would work out. Again, I'm not so sure on my scaling either. So it'd have something like that in that general location. I think they should be further apart though. So let's keep the inner one, build it out to there, add the second launcher here. Something like that. And then yeah, this area here would kind of go up a little bit, probably at like a 22.5 again, keep it kind of sleek and aerodynamic. That is one thing. So when I build most things, especially things that fly in the atmosphere of this style, I usually really try to make things look plausible with aerodynamics and things like that. It's not always easy, especially with miners and things like that. You pretty much can't really do much about that. But other things, if you can shape something and try to keep it as smooth and as aerodynamic looking from the front. Not that it matters in the game. I mean, the game doesn't know aerodynamics, but and these are spaceships too, and things flying in space don't need to care about aerodynamics at all. It's not even a thing. But it tends to look kind of cool anyway on some kinds of ships. But if they fly in the atmosphere, you'd think that would be a consideration. It's just my way of thinking about sci-fi stuff in general. If it looks like a big brick and it flies through the atmosphere, well, you'd think that'd be very inefficient for it to do it that way, unless it's completely different technologies or whatever. So okay, now on the bottom here, after all these parts are done, I think what also takes place is it kind of goes down from here. Yeah, probably a 22.5 angle like that. And figure this out. It can make it a lot easier too, by the way. If you're trying to build a more complex creation, I definitely highly recommend trying to do this wireframe approach. Um, Save you a lot of time. You can try to really move things around and get it to look proportional and the way you want it to before you really put in time and effort on, building out the actual areas of it. So it's almost like I want to reference something too, because I'm not sure how far back some of this stuff should go here. Let's go a couple blocks there on each one of these and see what happens. Something like, oh, come on, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I got a lot of proportion issues going on here right now, I think. This part up here is wrong yet. Let's get rid of this line. Maybe keep it just a little bit up there. Let's say we go 5 blocks and then it already goes back in instead of way back that way. And maybe goes into that area there. Take this in a little bit more here too. I was trying to try to think about enough room to get like bigger parts inside the ship too. That could be a problem if I don't watch it. And this part is all not right there either. See how much it changed already since I first started. Okay, so let's say we do that. Oops, man, I keep on fluttering around here with the block. I like to use intervals of 3 or 5, or basically odd numbers when I do a lot of this stuff too. It just helps with having a center point on areas. If you go like 6 blocks and you're going to have a 2-block center, that can work nicely in certain circumstances, but I usually try to avoid it. You know what? Yeah, then I got this coming down here, which is shown it should be larger. This area, then maybe come down at this area about there. So hard to see right now. Do I have the wings? That's something too, on the wings. Okay, let's do a little moving things around here, stretching things out a bit. So this is another area that I think is very useful for building these kinds of things, is these all these end key tools you got with selections. So what I wanted to do now is I wanted to try to achieve a better looking angle here, even with the wireframe blocks that I'm using. So I'm going to try to take portions of it. Let's do one other thing. I'm going to first turn off that my current block selection, so I don't have to look at that every time. So let's just take this piece. We'll have to repeat the same process on the other side. You can't do this in symmetry, unfortunately. Oops. Suppose I should. I'll do a cut and a paste. Let's say you come down to there. I'll quickly do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we'll paste you there. Let's go to the next part. I'm not trying to be super accurate with this right now, but yeah, I got to get all the blocks selected at least. Okay, so that should do it there. Let's cut you and paste you, and I want to also bring it down another. Repeat on the other side. does this look different on one side or the other? I guess it's not. No, never mind. Okay, cut, paste, down, paste. Alright. Let's turn symmetry back on again. So, yeah. Looks like it needs to have a longer neck, to be honest. It looks a little too squatty here, I guess, versus the wings, a little too small. So, yeah, let's fix that right now. So, take this whole front section here to about where it thins off at the neck. Something like that. Make sure I got all the blocks. Yeah, my block isn't, or my selection box isn't exactly perfect, but shouldn't matter. So let's do, I'm going to do a copy this time so I can stretch it out and keep the other blocks there. So a copy paste, so when I bring this out, say about 5 blocks, it should look right. Yeah, like that. Oh, what's all this stuff on the bottom here? Oh, just junk, okay. Yeah, it's alright, I guess. Try to get that base shape down there. Now on these things too, they did have like a kind of a bit of a saucer look on the front of them. Just a little bit though, like very, very subtle compared to the humans over there. I'm just trying to get like a bit of a body line here. Get rid of a lot of this junk here again. And clean this up a bit. We don't need any of that there either. Okay, so I think another thing that I got going on is some of these parts here, these wing pieces, I think probably should go back further. Oh, I don't have symmetry on now. Oh no. What did I just do? Did I affect anything with symmetry? I don't think so. You gotta watch that. Yeah, I shift in and out of symmetry so often that more than I'd like to make mistakes on not realizing symmetry is not on, or having it on and screwing something up that's asymmetrical from one side to the other, especially with interior stuff on a creation like this. It's almost easier in some cases to build fully asymmetrical stuff if you're going to do that, so you don't screw it up and you never have to turn symmetry on in the first place. But yeah, this is definitely a symmetrical creation here, so I don't think I'd want to do that. So I'm going to just kind of like take these back by about 3 blocks here a minute, see what becomes of it. Just trying to get a little bit different dimensions in here. And likewise, this would have to come back to maybe something like that. And something along those lines. This is just very rough, obviously. Very rough so far. Try to get a shape in place. Try to figure out a lot of these like different parts of this. I probably don't need to have any of those angled blocks there for now. Bit of a waste of time. Okay, now this whole piece here too, it looks like it should be slanted and not flat like it is. Just get rid of the extra blocks there. And how would that take place? It gets a little tricky with some of these because I'm going to want to smooth out all these shapes. I just got to make sure I can smooth out all these shapes. So when I instantly say I wanted to angle down, well, that gets a little tricky on actually trying to get the blocks to work on that later on. But here, let's say we went down 2 blocks here for now. And this is supposed to slant down that way. How would that actually work out? Okay, so if we slant it down, we'd want to do it at a, over here almost you could probably do it at 45. Let's try something with, just want to make sure I can get these angles in place. Say it did that. This would be the sloping angle, except, yeah, this part here isn't quite right. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, let's put those back. Well, with all that done, then these parts out on the sides here would also have to be quite a bit further back here. So let's get rid of a lot of this. And the angle here, yeah, see, this is 45. That's what I don't like. I kind of wanted this to be at a 22.5, kind of going out at this angle, not a 45. So that angle I don't think is going to work there. So what if take those out again and try to do it like 2-to-1 block ratio there, like that, and then we can take these back to kind of line up with that as well. How's that going to work out? I think it's all right. So one other thing I kind of wanted to get into the basic wireframe yet is kind of what's going to go on with this top section over here, or at least early ideas of shaping it. Just kind of putting in some lines here right now just to kind of get the overall view of what this would look like if it were filled in. And then it would actually dip down a little bit more in the center here. So let's repeat that same pattern here. I do 45, like that. I know that looks pretty bulky there right now, but I think in the end that's going to look kind of neat. This part needs to be a lot bulkier over here too to make all that work out. And this should be a 22.5 coming down here, so maybe something like, oops, like that. Let's just take that out to there for now and down like that. Yeah, it's a block sketch pad, that's what it is. Okay, so yeah, this neck, okay, so it's 5 wide. That would allow, you to walk in it and stuff like that, but I'm probably going to have 2 floors in this section too. So that's something I like to do too, is try to figure out, your heights on things. Like I know I can put like instructors in this area or something like that. On this ship, undoubtedly would probably be using a fusion core as well, and maybe even a big shield part. So this back area here, I think, would provide areas to put those kinds of really big parts in. This is 5 blocks wide here. It's 5 blocks tall, so even if it came here, That would give me room to fit 2 big 5x5 parts in here if I wanted to. And I also got to really think about the old thruster placement. It's going to need a lot of them. So strafing thrusters, not so bad. Reverse thrusters on these kinds of ships usually are the worst to deal with. But we've got arms. Let's just try to hypothetically place a couple of those, and maybe I'll call it on this video after that. Again, on this kind of ship, I don't really want to use anything but the big XL thrusters. Yeah, I guess I'm mentally ruling it out that it's going to be something that would be within Tier 4 on a ship. If I were, I don't think I'd want to use so many of these big thrusters because, well, they really suck up CPU fast, really fast. So here, let's try to put in a wedged one, just see how that works out. Let's just say we had a thruster there for now. Let that work out. You know what? Yeah, so that would force the block work here on this section. I'm trying to make these look like individual parts, and that's how the Klingon ship that I was looking at kind of was working out. It kind of looked like they were big. Each one had like a little bit different slant and a different angle, and they're like their own like chunks. In this part, on this over where I'm working now, it has to come down to. It's too high in relation to the other block there. So those are stupid blocks here. Let's do another cut and paste here. Hold on. Zero out that. Do it again. Okay, so I do have a selection started. Let's go that way and this way. Sorry if I'm jerking the camera around quickly when I'm changing views. It's just how I normally do it. Otherwise, it would just take longer to move around every time. Okay, so that'll work. So let's do a cut and paste. Let's bring you down like 2 more blocks over here. And repeat on the other side. Early planning phase. I wasn't even necessarily planning on trying to start like another big project at this time, but man, I can't help myself. Too many people said something about Klingon Birds of Prey, and I typically think it's a cool looking ship. There's just some of them, especially the really old renditions of it, I didn't think were very neat looking because of not so much the shape of the ship, but the coloring, and especially like we're talking really early on stuff. Okay, 2 there, paste. All right, remove selection and put you back on symmetry. Well, it's sort of taking some kind of form right now, but now I'm almost thinking that this neck probably should be just all around a little, at least 1 block wider per side here. So let's just throw in a block row to look at it like that. Of course, the neck's going to get chopped up a lot. This area here is going to be a bit tricky. The coolest thing, though, if it all comes together, would be like each one of these parts are nice and smooth and angled a little bit different. And kind of joined together to form the entire, like these wings going on here. Now, combat-wise, a ship like this could work out pretty good. Obviously, it might have like some kind of first-person bridge out in this general area, but it would probably need a secure bridge back over here. This area, you wouldn't want to put any big, fuel tanks or important parts in, but you could slap on a lot of turrets and things meant to get destroyed, especially on the front area here. And then you could put your meaty launchers and turrets and things along these back wing masses over here, and maybe a little on the underside and a little on the top, and I think it would work out. I think it would work out as a potentially decent combat ship. Um, Hard to see what's going on here now, but just kind of looking at the overall shape of it, trying to figure out how that would work out. Our next video on this, what I'm going to try to do is try to really start to do something with, I think, the wings. Maybe in this case, I really should do the wings and then build this part proportional to the wing structure. The wing structure is going to be a lot harder to manipulate in the end. Basically, where I can scale this up and make it smaller or bigger quite quickly and easily, but this part's not going to be so easy to do once the block works in place. So I think that would be a better plan, actually. And I can try to judge the scale of how big this should be versus how big this ends up being. And overall scale, I would say this is a little smaller ship than what the Proxima is, which isn't a bad thing at all. I don't exactly know what to do for Klingon fluff, so if it doesn't really have much in fluff in it, I'm not going to complain. Because that's, I'm sure, obviously I got to figure out an interior, and it would have to be it definitely have to be different than what the interior of that is. But I think, yeah, I think it could work. I think it could work. It's a bit early, I would say, right now to actually tell what's going to happen here, though. Don't mind me, I'm just trying one last thing here. If this had like a bit of a, kind of like a, maybe an angled area that kind of comes out from there a little bit over the sides like that. Well, anyway, I'll stop there on this video. I always worry that the videos get too long and things like that, and I'm gonna try to work out some more pieces of this here in future videos, like chunk at a time, until I can get something right. Now, yeah, I built this other ship differently, where I actually did do a lot of detail stuff right out at the gates, trying to make this round section, which I think actually came out, was very helpful to do, because this was the one area that if you wanted to get a nice round thing, you had to kind of scale the rest of this creation to that, because this is going to be really tricky. It can't be too big or it can't be too small. It had to be just right. So starting there made a lot of sense on this build, where other things like the size of the neck, the size of the saucer, the size of everything else can be adjusted, but this had to be pretty much that size if you're going to try to have that, a nice, about as round as you can make something in Imperium. Where this doesn't really have any big round things on it like that. So it's a little different there. But yeah, I don't know. I'll look at some more pictures too in between, before I do another video on this, to try to dial in things, maybe make some adjustments to what's going on here so far. But yeah, that is one of many different techniques to try to build things. I do like this one, especially with things where you're not real sure on how you want things to be in the end, like dimensions, proportions, angles, things like that. So then you can kind of get a like, it's like you drew it out on a piece of paper. But earlier creations too, there's a couple that actually kind of try to draw out a little bit on paper, but you can draw stuff out on paper, and then but then you try to do it in Imperium and it doesn't translate well, especially if even if you're trying to be mindful of the angles. When you're drawing it on a piece of paper, you're only getting like one dimension on it, and where you're doing it here, you're getting like, it's three-dimensional. So you could, try to get all the other dimensions working, and I just find it easier to actually do it inside of the editor, as opposed to drawing a picture first. Now, some of the concept artists out there that do everything in perspective drawing or like 3D looking drawings and stuff like that, they're good at it. I'm not that good at doing those things, but you don't really need to if you do it this way, and it's probably going to come out better in the end because you're adjusting it for what's actually in the game and not just a picture. So, all right. Well, anyway, I'll stop there and yeah, so see what you think. Let me know if you like this project idea. I could switch it. I mean, honestly, I wanted to see if I was gonna like be on board with this. Right now, I'm like mixed. I think it could be pretty cool, but it's gonna take some certain definite effort to try to get the body to look neat, and then I got to figure out exactly what I want to do with texturing. And again, I don't want it to be necessarily old school Klingon look. I kind of want it to look, I don't know, more aggressive. Not. I really don't want to use green. I just don't really want to use a lot of green. But maybe that could look right. I don't know. I'll have to experiment with how to texture it and things like that yet. And yeah, there's a lot of little details that can be added in here. The neck is obviously probably way too straight and stuff right now too. This area probably should have some rounded looking saucery things, kind of like what was done in this section, but you know, scaled down. Um, and maybe it should be a little bit bigger too. That's another thing. Again, I kind of wanted it to be, if I was going to go through with this whole project, I kind of want it to be at least pretty evenly matched to this one. So they'd be kind of like, you know, you got your both sides of the thing here, and they're, you know, like, so have similar capabilities and things like that. So you could actually, I don't know, it'd be kind of fun to do a PvP thing, you know, take a couple pretty evenly matched crafts and have people go at it, you know, against each other with them. That would be kind of fun to see for sure. But I don't know if that would ever happen or not. But all right, well, I'm going to shut up. I have a way of talking way too much. So you guys have yourself a great day, and I'm going to think about this a little bit, and I'll probably try to get some work done off screen, and then some more work done in videos and things like that. So kind of a combination of both. All depends what I'm doing at the time. And yeah, I'm talking some more. Well, anyway, have a great day, y'all. I'll talk to you later.